from NBC News, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. When we board a major airliner, the very least that we can expect is that the pilots know where they are at all times and where they'll end up. Tonight, there's unsettling evidence that is not always the case. This story is about that American Airlines jetliner that crashed in the mountains of Colombia just before Christmas, killing 160. Here's NBC's Robert Hager.
The chilling transcript of dialogue in the cockpit reveals that two veteran American Airlines pilots were terribly lost just before they crashed on a flight from Miami to Cali, Colombia, 5 days before Christmas. The trouble begins as the pilots agree with controllers to forego the normal circle around and land procedure and instead dive into a deep valley for a trickier straight-in approach, even though they haven't studied the charts beforehand. To do it, they deploy speed brakes on the wings. Later, that will play a crucial role. But first, a basic mistake. They program the plane to fly automatically toward a radio checkpoint that's actually behind them, although they don't know it. The plane turns itself left, starting to circle back to the radio. But in the darkness of night, the pilots are puzzled. Where are we? Says the co-pilot at the controls. Where are we headed? The pilot says, I don't know. Then, getting edgy, adds, let's come to the right. The tower was not equipped with radar. The controller will say later that some of the positions the pilots are reporting seem odd, but at the time, he says nothing. By now, the crew is more lost than ever, still looking for the radio checkpoint. It's on your map, should be, says the co-pilot. Yes, says the pilot, it's a left turn. So the co-pilot turns, but observes, just doesn't look right. I don't know why. So, you want a left turn, he asks? But this time, the pilot says, nah, hell no, let's press on. Press on to where, though, says the co-pilot. Finally, the pilot asks, how'd we get messed up here? Come to the right now. But when the plane makes its final turn, it's headed straight for the mountain. A cockpit alarm goes off. The captain yells, oh, and an expletive. Pull up, baby, more, up, up, up. Too late. And remember, those speed brakes which slow the plane are still on, too. The plane hits the mountain at 200 miles an hour. Only 4 passengers survive. The remaining 160 are killed. By all indications, pilot error. Robert Hager, NBC News, Washington.
And in the wake of that fatal crash of an Air Force plane in Croatia, which killed Commerce Secretary Ron Brown and 34 others, Defense Secretary William Perry now has ordered the U.S. military to install black boxes in all military passenger planes. Brown's plane did not have any flight data recording equipment. And in the Unabomber case, who would have thought that tiny Montana cabin could hold so much? And if what the FBI is telling us is true, almost all of it appears to tie Ted Kaczynski to the long run of terrorist bombings. Appears to. As NBC's David Bloom tells us tonight, authorities want to be sure they don't lose this case in the filing stages.
Today, with federal agents still blocking the road to Ted Kaczynski's backwoods cabin, new details emerged about the government's strategy in prosecuting the suspected Unabomber. NBC News has learned that federal prosecutors will not push a grand jury in Great Falls, Montana to indict Kaczynski anytime soon. The plan instead is to allow investigators time to sift through some 600 pieces of evidence removed from Kaczynski's tiny 10 by 12 foot shack. Crammed, said federal agents, with all the makings of a homemade bomb factory. Prosecutors have until at least May 3rd to formally charge Kaczynski, either with making a bomb, the charge for which he's currently being held, or as the Unabomber. As one law enforcement source put it, it's a complex case. There's lots of evidence. What's the rush? The Justice Department could decide to proceed in Montana or to shift the case to another jurisdiction, such as Northern California or New Jersey, near the 2 most recent fatal Unabomber attacks, where prosecutors could seek the death penalty. The defense strategy? Blame the government. In court papers, Kaczynski's public defenders accuse the U.S. government of leaking so much information about the case that he can never get a fair trial. A lethal media blitz and a lynch mob, they said. The defense lawyers writing, these deliberate disclosures poison the entire population of grand jurors within the United States against Mr. Kaczynski.
The FBI turns their agents loose to speak anonymously and to jump into the ring and beat the devil out of the defendant who is helpless to do anything.
The argument over who's to blame for the leaks could further delay this case, which is fine with prosecutors, who are still trying to sort out where to file charges. David Bloom, NBC News, Helena, Montana.
Still ahead tonight, NBC News in depth, more on America's efforts to protect against terrorism at the upcoming Olympics.
We are practicing for situations we hope never occur.
Atlanta prepares for the biggest security operation ever. Will it work? What are the risks? Answers in depth. Also ahead tonight, a young Air Force cadet stricken with cancer, but tonight he feels very lucky, and we'll tell you why.
Now you can launch your business into cyberspace with a new toll-free 888 number from AT&T. It gives you all the benefits of an 800 number and a free listing on the internet, where millions of customers can find your number, check out your homepage, and order your products.
Your order's flying out the door.
One small step for you, one giant leap for your business. Toll-free 888 from AT&T for the life of your business.
Claritin.
I'll ask my doctor.
It's time to see your doctor.
For a trial of Claritin.
Yes, ask your doctor for a trial of Claritin. For free information and a $5 coupon toward a prescription for Claritin, call 1-800-Claritin.
It's a great time to be silver because you're over 50 and you haven't lost your edge. Now there's a Centrum made just for you. Centrum Silver for your changing nutritional needs. Centrum Silver. It's a great time to be silver.
It's your first day, you try to hide your fear, but you'll be okay, Mom, in your new career. I'll fix your breakfast, maybe you should pour instead. Kellogg's Raisin Bran will start ya 2 scoops ahead.
Nothing gets you ready for a big day like those 2 scoops, only in Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
I remember when it was me, starting out instead. Go Mom! You're 2 scoops ahead.
In southern Texas, some relatively reassuring news tonight about a very frightening story that we told you about last night. 2 research monkeys infected with the deadly Ebola virus. You're looking now at where they were held. That's the HRP Primate Center in Alice, Texas. NBC's Robert Bazell is there tonight with what investigators have found.
Federal and state health officials today began inspections at the gigantic HRP Primate Center. They want to be certain that 2 monkeys imported for medical research and found to be infected with the Ebola virus do not threaten human health.
We do take this very seriously.
8 of the 35 workers at the primate facility came in contact with the monkeys since they arrived last month. The 8 are being watched closely for signs of illness, especially fever.
As long as they're telling us the truth. And so I shouldn't be worried about it.
In the past few days, intensive tests at the Army's Fort Detrick Biological Weapons Lab revealed that the strain of Ebola is one that is not known to infect humans.
There is no reported case of human infection. We cannot be 100% sure that human cannot be infected, but we never saw any of these.
The Texas strain is not the Ebola virus that struck in Africa last year, killing 80% of its human victims. That is one of the deadliest infectious agents known, which is why officials react so quickly to any Ebola outbreak. The 2 monkeys were part of a shipment of 100 from a company in the Philippines. Monkeys from that same company have brought Ebola to the United States in the past. In 1989, they led to an outbreak at this facility in Reston, Virginia, described in the bestseller, The Hot Zone. In 1990, they led to a big outbreak at this same Texas company. No humans got sick in either outbreak. Health officials are now considering a ban on monkey imports from the Philippines. But monkeys are in short supply, and they worry about the impact on medical research. Robert Bazell, NBC News, Alice, Texas.
In another part of Texas tonight, in Amarillo, a power station failure caused a massive blackout in the southwest. West Texas, parts of New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Kansas all lost power. Tens of thousands of homes were affected, but the problem now has been fixed, we're told. On Wall Street today, the Dow was up in very heavy trading. The NASDAQ also up to a new record. When we come back, NBC News in depth tonight, fighting terrorism at federal buildings across the country and at the summer's Atlanta Olympic Games. How safe are we? We'll have answers in depth.
So this customer says to me, "You running a health food place?" I say, "Health food? What do you mean? Wasn't the burger big enough? Weren't the fries greasy enough? Wasn't the chili hot enough? Didn't you beg me for Tums?" So he says, "Exactly. Tums. Health food."
Tums not only knocks out heartburn, Tums is like health food for your bones. It gives you calcium you need every single day. Calcium you can't get from Mylanta Liquid or Pepsid AC.
Then he says, "Every meal in this place ends with Tums." So I say, "Well, I do what I can."
Honey, are you okay?
Yeah, relax. It's not broken.
Does it hurt?
No, the doctor gave me Tylenol. Extra strength.
Tylenol, the hospital's choice for pain.
And it's working great, Matt. The car, on the other hand.
Alan's asthma attack woke me. At 3 a.m., you don't try some unknown brand. You trust Primatene Mist.
It starts to open clogged breathing passages in as fast as 15 seconds.
We take asthma seriously with Primatene Mist.
Fastest type asthma relief without a prescription.
When was the last time you played in the rain? Let your hair go wild. Flexed your muscles to the world. Stayed up past your bedtime. When was the last time you really had fun in a car? Riviera by Buick. Go ahead. Express yourself.
NBC News in depth tonight, the fight against terrorism in this country as we approach the first anniversary of the Oklahoma City bombing on Friday. Of course, it's also the third anniversary of the federal raid on the Branch Davidian compound in Waco, Texas. April 19th has become a target day for people who hate the government in this country. What are authorities doing to keep the rest of us safe? We begin our in-depth reporting tonight with NBC's Pete Williams.
At federal buildings in Chicago, they're taking no chances as the bombing anniversary approaches, today installing more metal detectors and X-ray machines. In Denver, where the Oklahoma City bombing trial will soon begin, the government has ordered federal buildings there to go on what it calls maximum security posture on Friday. All visitors will have to sign in and be escorted. Extra guards will be posted inside. The same rules will apply to government buildings in Oklahoma City. All around the country, getting to work is more of a chore at government buildings with the bombing anniversary coming up. Stricter checking of purses and briefcases, closer inspection of government ID badges, tighter screening for cars driving in.
The law enforcement experts tell us that the history of terrorism is that terrorists do sometimes pay attention to anniversary dates.
In Dallas, some federal workers say the precautions are a good idea.
I don't expect anything to happen. I think because of the extra security, it's going to be fine.
Immediately after the Oklahoma bombing, the federal government scrambled to beef up security at many of its 8,000 office buildings across the country. Over the past year, the General Services Administration has spent over $32 million, plans to spend $77 million more, and has hired 800 more security guards. GSA says buildings are safer now, but nothing is foolproof.
There's no 100% guarantees, but certainly our federal buildings today are safer than they were a year ago.
Law enforcement officials tell NBC News they know of no specific threat to attack any federal targets on Friday. Even so, they emphasize, they want to be prepared. One big concern, law enforcement officials say, is the FBI's headquarters in Washington. For months now, parking has been blocked around the building, and more officers patrol outside on foot. A terrorism expert says all this planning is a good idea, while downplaying the threat that terrorists would attack on Friday.
That may be a very tough day for him to pull something off, simply because the terrorists like soft targets, and this isn't going to be a soft target day.
Even so, some federal workers say they're thinking about doing the safest thing, spending Friday at home. Pete Williams, NBC News, Washington.
Now, more on the fight against terrorism at what may turn out to be a very tempting target, this summer's Olympic Games in Atlanta. It will be a massive undertaking, after all. Add to Atlanta's population of 3 million, 2 million Olympic visitors, 70,000 volunteers, 10,000 athletes, 5,000 coaches. How can the security team protect all of them? Well, today, there was a major dry run to test the system. We continue our in-depth reporting tonight with NBC's Bob Dotson.
Stand right. 3 months before the Olympics, some deadly serious games. Law officers learning to fight terror. They have been practicing for months.
There we got him.
But today's drill at the Atlanta airport is the largest